Alright, everybody, here we are today with some more Esper Control, seeing if we can run a little bit hotter than we did previously. We're running back just the same list as before. 2 Esper Charm, 2 Kai's Guile, 2 Archmage's Charm, 3 Force of Negation. This is kind of where I've seen some iterations in the deck on who wants 3 of what, or how many Force of Negations, if any. Some on little Teferi in the main, some completely without it in the whole 75, things like that. But basically just trying to see if we can outgrind our opponents in a way where we can find, um, removal spells to 1-for-1 them, and then card advantage spells like Esper Charm, Archmage's Charm, or even Cryptic Command to eventually put ourselves up on cards, and then try to find something like a Jace or a Teferi to kind of just slam that game closed. And those really are our best ways to finish off and end the game. For the most part, they're really going to kind of pull most of the weight as far as our win conditions. We obviously have Snapcaster Mages, but that's really just not going to cut it. Most of the time, that's not really going to slam the door closed. Um, that only really happens in really strange situations when you have multiple Snapcaster Mages, and typically in post-board games when your opponent's off all their removal, because that never happens in the pre-board games when they have their removal. So let's hop into match number 1 and see what we've got here for us today. Let's see here. Opponent has revealed a Lurrus. We have a very slow hand. So they have all 1 and 2s. We have all 3s and up. So this is just not going to cut it. Yeah, there's just not really too much to say about that. Yikes. This is marginally better. And the reason I'm going to actually keep this is because there's a decent chance that they're a discard deck. And if they are a discard deck, then we really, really are going to need to make sure that we keep as many cards as possible. Oops. Put one of these back. But that's the hope, I guess. We'll see what it is they're doing. Mishra's Bauble. Yeah, so probably some sort of shadow list. Probably going to get our logic not taken, and who knows, maybe even just die before we get to even try to play any of these powerful planeswalkers at 4 and 5. This is not what we were looking for. Yep. Yep. So there goes our logic knot. We can go ahead and play this tapped. Next turn I might play an untapped land like the River of Tears or the Mystic Gate anyway, just to try to show like we did draw a 2-mana spell. They don't have like a Wrenn and 6 or anything, so that's good. Yeah, I'm going to do this just to show maybe we did draw a 2-drop, because they know we have this Hollowed Fountain, so this is a little bit of, maybe we get fortunate here or something like that, but decent chance that they're just on a couple of shadows, like actual Death Shadow, and they needed a second land to be able to play them, but ooh boy, we are going to be in for it if this is just like a double shadow draw here. Yep. And it is in fact double shadow. So now we're looking for Supreme Verdict. Would be a pretty good draw for us. At this point, a path, a push would also be fine. Mana Leak is definitely not what we're looking for. The good news is Archmage's Charm in this matchup is an additional removal spell, which is nice. So we have Archmage's Charm, Kai's Guile, Push, Path, Supreme Verdict, all as pretty solid draws at this point, I think. Yeah, that's really what we're looking for. This is good news for us. They didn't take any more damage pre-combat, so that tells me they don't have another land that causes damage in hand, so probably just means they don't have another land. It could potentially be like a basic, but this deck typically will run 1, maybe 2 basics, so that's unlikely. They'll just put Lurrus in hand. Okay, that's fine. That is fine with us. So now, yikes. Okay, drawing a lot of lands here. I don't want to play this Jace because I don't want them to just be able to free play this Lurrus, and if they take any amount of damage, the Jace is going to die to the 2 shadows as well too, so just really hoping to avoid that. In here, so the problem here is I want a Snapcaster to try to block one of these, but there's a decent chance that they have a Dismember, and if they have a Dismember, we're basically dead. But I don't know if that's really something we can beat in the first place, to be honest. So I'm just going to Snapcaster here. I'll target the Logic Knot, and then we'll hope that they have like a push instead. Maybe. So I have a dismember. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. Them pushing it's okay, because that tells me they do not actually have a dismember, which is a big deal. Dismember would mean a lot more damage. I mean, what, 8 more damage, right? Because they pay 4 life. So that would be bad news. Yikes. Okay. Now I think we need to play this to Fairy and go up with it. Because untapping 2 lands means that we can mana leak. Yikes. We've drawn, what, 1 spell, I think? That is typically not going to be good enough. Especially after getting discarded off of a spell. That's just bad news bears for us, really. Once again, just hoping they don't have more ways to lose life. A fetch land would be awful for us here. A Thoughtseize would be pretty good as well, too, because we probably have to mana leak it. See, they can't play Street Wraith. I don't think the Jund lists are on things like Mutagenic Growth, although it's tough to tell nowadays. You never really know for sure if they're on the Phyrexian 1-mana spells or not. So they're just going face with both of these. They're just going to try to ignore this Teferi, which seems interesting considering these are just 1/1s. Maybe they just have another, like a 2-mana shadow? No? Okay, so they have to just have, like, a bunch of their removal spells in hand. I can't imagine what else they could possibly have. Discard spells they would fire off, creatures they would fire off. I mean, just everything. I would imagine they would want to be firing off at this point, so. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Yeah, I'm going to play this Jace. I'm going to brainstorm here. Because we need to try to find at least like a fetch land and maybe ditch some of these. Put these back, I guess. Play this land. Then we can opt away one of those cards, I guess. We have a Cryptic Command. If we feel like we really need it. Hopefully we don't, but who knows? Maybe they're playing like not Unburial Rites. The 1 mana that reanimates some 3-drops or something like that. Maybe that's something that they're potentially playing. In here we can go for, I'm not too scared of anything really. So I think actually I'm going to just opt, put this land on the bottom. Snapcaster. Target this opt. They're probably going to kill this. Now they might have Dismember, which could make this line potentially kind of scary. They do not. They're letting us go to blocks. Maybe it's Team or Battle Rage, which is also super fine if that's the trade that they're making here. Yeah, okay. That's fine. So they get to kill our Snapcaster Mage to deal 1 to this Jace. And now I feel pretty good, actually. We still get to cast this opt end of turn. Found another land. No, like, Tarmogoyfs. No, I mean, it's gotta just be, like, Battle Rages and pushes and things like that at this point. I can't imagine what else they could potentially even have. I'll bottom that. Even though having a fetch land is kind of good with this Jason play. Yikes. Okay, so we really need to draw something. And that is something, my goodness. That is definitely our best possible at this point. I'll just make white with this. Blue. Blow those bozos up. Draw ourselves a card. They concede? No? Okay. Let's brainstorm now that we have a bunch of lands sitting here. We can just go ahead and put 2 of these back. Play this land. Pass the turn. And now I feel super confident in our position. We're now at a spot where we not only have a Path to Exile, but we also have a Snapcaster and a Cryptic Command. We've got our Jace on lock. Maybe there's some merit to plussing our Jace there to try and keep it away from Bolt. That could be another card that they've been holding on to. But I think at this point that's fine. Hex Drinker's totally okay. At this point, if they try to go to level it up, we can just path that away. Which is fine. Another Hex Drinker. Yeah, I mean, they can only level 1 of these up. And that's fine. Oh, so now I think actually we're just going to Snap Verdict. Yeah, I think that's better actually. Losing the snap is a bit of a bummer, but we can actually snap target verdict minus the Jace on the snap. Come on, there we go. To bring it back to our hand and then cast the verdict, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, that's all fine. You can get 1 level on one of your Hex Drinkers. You got it. So now we can Snapcaster. Target this. Oh, okay. Yeah, they see the writing on the wall. Yeah, what was going to be really sweet was target the verdict, Jace bounce the verdict, or bounce the Snapcaster back to our hand, then cast the verdict. That was going to be pretty cool. So here we're looking at a couple of different things. I kind of like bringing in a mentor in this matchup because they're pretty likely to end up trimming on most, if not almost all of their removal. Now that they only saw Snapcasters, they'll probably be on like, I don't know, they typically can't get all their removal out depending on what they're playing, so they'll probably really just be on bolts and maybe K commands, depending on what their list looks like. So with that being said, I kind of like having the mentor in there because you can protect mentor against things like K command. I like trimming on the counter magic, especially on the draw, because we kind of just get like thought seized out of the game occasionally here. And we don't want to be sitting there with cards that don't impact the board and then, kind of just get ran out of the game holding on to mana leaks and logic knots and force negations and things like that. So I think that's what we're going to go with here. And then on the draw, we might consider bringing back in some number of counter spells for things like Esper Charms potentially as um, something that could get tagged by Veil of Summer as well too, like the counter spells, but I like that we can just draw cards with it, so it's never really a dead card. Um, so yeah. This hand's pretty great. We have 3 pieces of 1 mana, something to do, which I love against a discard spell deck. Just being able to do anything at all is pretty nice in the first couple of turns against a deck, especially like a Lurrus deck. So they targeted themselves, which tells me that I think they have a fetch land. Okay, they're going to target us as well too. Let's see what our top card is. Maybe. Not yet. That's fine too. Oh, now they are. Sure. So they get to see our draw here, which is a Polluted Delta. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that out. I'll pass to them. I could Fatal Push right now, but honestly, I'm not that worried about this Hex Drinker, considering we have a Fatal Push, we have Ops to find more things, and we have a Kaya's Guile. So even if they do have a Veil of Summer and they just use it to protect this Hex Drinker, I think that that's okay with us at this point. So I'll take my 2. We'll see what they've got as a follow-up. Probably like a Tarmogoyf, maybe the 2 mana Shadow. Oh, let's just level up. Okay. This is level up again, then I'll just kill it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this now. I'll still grab our other Watery Grave here because I still want to be able to double opt potentially next turn. And I can grab a Hollowed Fountain off this if I need to. Although there's a decent chance that what I'll probably do instead is just cast 1 opt, fetch for Hollowed Fountain, pass. White mana is going to be important on 3 for this Kaya's Guile, and I'd like to not be at a super low life total if we can avoid that. Whoa, they're giving us a free land? Wow. Man, people are bringing this card in against so many people, and I just don't understand it. Okay, so we'll just grab white with this, I suppose. Or, you know what, I'm still just going to grab an island for Archmage's Charm purposes. I'll just go ahead and cast this right here. Although that's a good spell, I think I want more things that interact with the board at this point. Yeah, like that. Interesting. Cleansing Wildfire, just because we have 3 colors? Is that maybe what they're thinking? That they can try to cut us off with something? So here, I'm going to, like I said, just grab that Hollowed Fountain. I'm just going to get it tapped. I don't really need to opt right now, and I like that I can Kaya's Guile away what they're doing right now. That's a bit of a bummer, actually. I wish I would have had that before. Is there any reason to Guile now? I don't believe so. This plays around Veil of Summer. They can't actually Veil that. So they can maybe, tip their hand with fetching and shocking pre-combat or something to that degree. Yeah, shocking here pre-combat. to try and get some more damage in, when in reality that's, not going to be the case here. And I think I'm just going to make them sacrifice. I kind of want to just eat their whole yard, to be honest. I just really don't want to get into a spot where they get their Luris becomes a problem for us. Because we don't actually have a way to counter the Luris. We just have, the Supreme Verdict to answer it once it's hit the battlefield. But I'd like to be able to keep that offline if possible. And while we are at 14, having this Verdict means that even if they play like 2 creatures here, we should be protected against that. And if they don't, we're probably still in a fine situation. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then they're just gonna play out this Hex Drinker. That's totally fine. I'll just ditch this redundant Watery Grave. We can go ahead and pass. So they're gonna play their Hex Drinker, dropping to 8. I think I'm just gonna Jace bounce it, to be honest. That could make our Jace liable to another K command, but I really like being able to keep our Supreme Verdict around. Another line could have potentially been just opting to see if we can find a removal spell would have been fine, but I think I like this line. This means that even if they do K command to finish this off, it's going to be K command, kill the Jace. Oh, bolt, yeah, that's fine. K command, kill the Jace, and then make us discard the Sunken Runes, which would not be a big deal. This is probably level up, level up, level up, and we still have the Supreme Verdict, like I said, to take care of that, which is good. Yeah, they have protection from instants, so we can't actually. It's a bit of a bummer. We can't actually Snapcast or do anything to it. We could Kaya's Guile them, but I like being able to Supreme Verdict here because what that does is that leaves our Opt up as well too, and I kind of like that. Plus, having this Snap in hand means that even if they did find a way to have all the right pieces to put together, we're probably in an okay spot. With having 3 cards left and 2 lands that draw, that's pretty nice for them actually. This is just put Luris in hand. Do they have a land to play to Luris? No? Okay. Sure. They're dropping down to 4. Yeah, I think I'll keep that. It's pretty good. It's just a really, really high value card at this point. So we can play our land out. We can Snap Guile them. It's unfortunate that we're 1 mana away from being able to Snap Push and still hold up Verdict. So I think we pass again because, like I said before, none of this plays into Veil of Summer, and we can just Snap, Guile, sack, make them eat their yard, and then even if they play out Luris, it doesn't really do anything at this point. Can also just go to take this. No, I think I like the Snapcaster line. This also puts something into play that does kind of pressure them in a way, which is pretty nice. Target this Guile. Okay. Cast this Guile. I'd like you to sacrifice. Eat all the stuff from your yard, please. So this way they don't get any of these back with Luris because the way this is templated is it says each opponent sacrifices and then exile their graveyard. So even the creature that they sacrifice does not go to the yard, which is pretty nice. Kind of wishing I had just made a 1/1 with our previous one, however, because we ended up having the second one off the Snapcaster, but all things said and done, that's, not the end of the world. I wonder if this is just going to be... Okay, so wow, really? They're dropping down to 3. Okay. And we're still at 6, which is pretty hefty life total. So they can't really use these for mana anymore. I mean, I guess they can try to use 1, but that's not going to work well for them. They have Luris and 1 left, huh? So... Go ahead and grab our Godless Shrine. What are we looking to draw here? Another Guile would obviously be pretty sweet. Land, not so sweet. I At this point, we can still just take the damage, however. Like, we can still just take 4, and that's not a big deal. There's a decent chance that they have, like, you know, level up to try to get to protection from everything, maybe. Okay, they're going to drop to 2. So now this Snapcaster is lethal, which means that the tap mode on this Cryptic command, if we can do it at the end of their turn, might just win the game. And that also does not play into Veil of Summer, which is pretty nice for us. So them dropping down to 2 is solid. Difference between 3 and 2 is pretty big here. So, like I said, we can take this damage. They have 5 mana available. And now that they're at 2, they can tap this Nurturing Peatland if they need 2 for 1, because realistically, the difference is the exact same. Looks like they're going to stay on the defensive here. They're going to draw a card and then look to play Luris, and if that's the case, I think they die. Tarmogoyf is fine as well, too. Like I said, we can just tap everything. Level up, no land. No land. Alright, and dead. Tap everything you got. And bam, there we go. There's our first match, 2-0. Let's just see if we can hop right back in there while we chat about that. That was, pretty interesting. I think that the Junglerist decks definitely are pretty potent threats sometimes when they get things like a whatchamacallit, a Hexdrinker online, or even things like Dark Confidant online for more than a couple of turns. They can be kind of scary, but having Kaya's Guile as a way to answer Hexdrinkers has been really awesome. Going up that second Verdict has felt really nice, because a lot of the times when I was playing the matchup previously, you just get like your first one Thought Seized or something, and then you're kind of in a spot where you're just like needing to get to 6 and have a Snapcaster to then snap back your Cryptic and your Supreme Verdict, and that's just never really a spot you want to be in. So I like that matchup overall, but things obviously played out pretty well for us there as well too. Okay, I'm gonna keep looking to Flooded Strand into the Sunken Ruins. Probably grab a Hollowed Fountain, just that way all of our mana is pretty perfect for the most part. We'll see what our opponent's on. If it's Burn, that's a little scarier. Looks like it is. Or down a card. What is this? Just Lava Spike our face. That I'm okay with. Okay. Yeah, now we might hold off on this opt. This might be a situation where instead of opting here, we'd prefer to just save the 2 life. That could be pretty reasonable. Wow, are they on a 1-lander? Oh my goodness. Okay. So they just have all gas in their last 4 spells, huh? That's scary. It's definitely scary. Alright. Would love to draw a piece of 2 mana interaction here. Mana Leak's a great one. I think I will. Yeah, I think I will just Mana Leak this Rift Bolt. Just try and keep our life total high, so that a potential Kaya's Guile down the line can help, kind of clean the rest of things up and make it kind of a for sure deal for us. If they have exactly land Eidolon, that would be the punish for that, though, I suppose. So maybe we just let that happen, huh? Yeah, I lied. I really don't want them to rip a land and play Eidolon, and this seems like the kind of hand where they're just on Eidolon, and that's why they kept a 1-lander, all gas, an Eidolon or 2, maybe a couple of other things. And here, if they tap out, yeah, here we can do this to this one, which is effectively the exact same as the previous, the Lava Spike effect, the Rift Bolt itself. Ooh, that's a really good draw. So now, part of me hopes that they cast some sort of creature, like a Goblin Guide would actually be great for us here. Casting a Goblin Guide would be sweet. It also means that if they do have an Eidolon, we get to just Guile it away, which it looks like is happening. Yeah, I'm going to let this happen, make them sack and gain 4. That's a pretty solid answer for us here. Tapping with these filter lands on Moto is far from easy. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and gain 4 life, go back up to 15. Would love to draw a land here so we can have some options. Sweet. Okay, that's fine. I don't even care that it's a tap land, because we have this Archmage's Charm, we get to, we have a counter spell. We have a Force Negation if it's a non-creature, but my guess is they have another Eidolon. And then if we get to counter that, we can potentially untap. Archmage's Charm is going to be sweet here because we can actually just take this, which would be pretty cool. I'll go to take the one, and then they're probably going to try to like bolt us or something like that in response, and then I'll actually just counter the bolt because that's going to end up saving more damage here. Nothing, huh? I'll take one. Taking one is not a big deal. This could also mean that they have like skewer or some sort of effect like that. They do not. Well, here I'm just going to go ahead and take this then. I would assume that they had more 1-mana spells considering they were left on the mana they were for so long, which is why I made the play that I did. But that's fine. Now we get to just jam a Teferi, start going up. Because they haven't cast any creature spells, I am going to get a prowess trigger off this and actually attack them with this Swift Spear, which is kind of cool. We get to play the prowess effects on our 1-drop as well too, which is pretty sweet. And now we're to a spot where we have this Force Negation if we really need to. And we can probably pitch this Supreme Verdict at this point. Now that we have a creature in play, we have a Teferi in play, and yeah, I don't see that really being a huge deal for us here as far as something to have to clean up a bunch of creatures, right? They've had a bunch of opportunities to play creatures, and they just haven't done it yet. They could potentially be sandbagging another Eidolon. That could be something, and Supreme Verdict could maybe be an okay answer to that. But who knows? Who knows for sure? Searing Blaze, attack both of these, huh? Yeah, that one's not okay. I care more about the Teferi than I do this, but obviously it's nice to save both of them. We're kind of 2-for-1ing ourselves there, but really Searing Blaze was kind of like 2 spells anyway, so it really just feels like a 1-for-1. I'll keep that on top because that's a Kaya's Guile. It's unfortunately not another Kaya's Guile because we do only have one in the yard, but I think at this point we're probably just about wrapped up. Be pretty surprised if we got into a spot where we died here. I'm going to go ahead and attack, and then if they don't go to kill this or something silly like that, I'm going to actually... Here, I'll tap this way. I'm going to Snapcaster Opt because we get 2 mana back at the end of turn. Get an extra damage in, just draw another card. I think we're at a spot where just drawing cards is totally fine. That's a really good draw. And now we get to, like I said, untap 2 lands. We have Cryptic Command available. We have Snapcaster Kaya's Guile available. We have, a Teferi in play. I think this one's really just about done, unless our opponent's playing some kind of card that I have no clue about. Maybe something uncounterable, Exquisite Firecrafts to some number, although it'd have to be quite a few of them at this point. Something like that. I don't really know what else they could really be holding on to as far as ways to get at us here. There's no need to like snap Kaya's Guile just to gain 4 and make a 1/1 end of turn here. They could potentially have a Skull Crack, and that would be rough for us, so we don't really want to play into that if we can avoid it. We can go up with this again. Come on, Moto. So we can, there we go. I'm going to play this one tapped. We get to just untap it end of turn anyway, which is fine. Get in there for 3. Man, the Swift Spear is doing work for us. Probably done what? Attack twice for 2, and then this will be for 1, so 2, 4, 5 damage that it's done. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Skull Crack here, huh? I think actually Skull Cracking that is fine. I don't really care if we don't get to Kaya's Guile them this turn, and attacking our Teferi at this point is really just kind of like a losing effort. Like I just don't think that's really doing anything. It's also weird timing on their part. I think they were hoping we would counter that. Then they have like a Boros Charm to try to finish that or something strange. If they do go for a Boros Charm to finish this Teferi, I will counter that one, however. Dropping it down to 1. Yeah, sure, that's fine. That's fine. As long as we have it in play, that's all that matters. Oops. Okay, well, skip through my combat step. Maybe that was their plan. Try to get us to flinch through our combat. That worked. But, I mean, we have Snapcaster Kaya's Guile here. We have Cryptic Command. Like, we have tons and tons of different things that we can have access to. Yeah, this is super duper fine. Probably should have drawn a card first in case they drew it, like an Eidolon, something that they might want to cast for 2 mana. I don't know. Probably irrelevant at this point. Yep, and they're just going to pack it in. Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, sweet. This is where I love having more Kaya's Guiles in the board. It just seems great here. Dovin's Veto seems great. Aether Gusts seem pretty good. Celestial Purge seems pretty good. They probably have something like Blood Moon, so I like that as well too. I think what we want to start trimming on is I really don't love the Verdicts. I don't love the like an additional Cryptic Command. I don't love the Esper Charms, although funnily enough they can tag. Excuse me, they can tag an Eidolon. It's just 3 mana to just kill one thing, whereas Kaya's Guile is 3 mana to kill one thing and gain 4 life, and make a 1/1 or something to that effect. So I like that a lot more. And then maybe another trim. I'm debating if I want just one of these more expensive spells out of here, like potentially a Jace because it could die to a bunch of burn spells. That would be reasonable. I really like the Teferi because it lets us interact in the same turn and we're bringing in more 2 CMC things. So yeah, I'm just going to ditch one of the Jaces. Going a little bit lighter on the win conditions here, but as we saw in that last game, it's less about can we win the game and more can we stay alive. Because if we can stay alive, we can probably find a way to win pretty reasonably. This hand's pretty good. Obviously, it needs a 3rd land at some point, and it would love to be a blue land. But really, we're just trying to dodge, what, Godless Shrine, Swamp, Plains, and that's it. And we have 25 lands, I believe, plus we're on the draw against a potential Goblin Guide deck. So I'm gonna snap this one off, see if we can find ourselves in a spot where this Mana Leak gets to tag something reasonable, and maybe we're all right. Would also be cool for them to. Oh wow, they're just casting spells. They're not playing a bunch of creatures on one, which is interesting. Those are really the hands you need to be the most worried about against burn. The hands that have, Swift Spear into Eidolon into, double Swift Spear or something like that, because those are all recurring sources of damage, and that's potentially really scary. But that's part of the reason why Kaya's Guile is so good in this matchup. It basically is a counter spell for that spell right there, that Rift Bolt, plus 1 life, and kills, one of their repeatable sources of damage, which is huge. Is this a light up the stage or something? Just skewer. Okay, that's fine. They keep another 1-lander? My goodness. Okay, well now I'm getting a little scared because in our first 2 draws we've yet to find a land, and that's potentially scary, but we're in a good spot with having this Guile in hand, so at least if we get to our 3rd land, we've got plenty of good things to do with this Archmage's Charms and the Guile, and here at least we have something like this Mana Leak to potentially answer something. Even if they cast a creature, I'm still going to Mana Leak it. I really don't want to path something if we can avoid it. Suspending a Rift Bolt is a bummer. I wish they were actually casting a spell for us here. Yikes. Okay, that's huge. I was hoping that with, our top 10 cards we could find a 3rd land, but obviously we did not yet. I think here I'm just going to ditch the Cryptic Command. It's pretty expensive. We're pretty far away from it. And at this point, I'll take 3 and go to 11, because this is probably turning on like another Skewer or potentially even a Light Up the Stage to try to find another land. And I'd much rather tag, if they don't play a land and they play the Skewer, I'll still tag the Skewer because that's fine. But I don't want, if we countered that and they just went land Eidolon, we'd be pretty soft to that. Yeah, see, I have to, this stinks because I feel like we have to counter this, really to use our mana, even though we have a path that could potentially answer it, and even an Archmage's Charm for next turn that could just, yikes. Oof, this is rough. An Archmage's Charm that could also tag it, but I think we kind of had to, not give them their 2nd land, considering they have all casts here. Hopefully they play another 1-drop creature and we get to purge it. Yikes, 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 yikes. Spike our face. We still yet to draw land. Ooh. I definitely was not expecting to draw 12 cards deep and not find another land. That is pretty problematic. Um, don't know if we'll have enough to come back from this, considering they have all gas in their hand too. Okay, so this one is good. At least we get to potentially eat a land off the top here and then purge this. I want to purge because I want to keep mana efficiency reasons. Want to keep these 1-drops for later. Let's see what they find off this. What'd you find? Land. Snapcaster. Okay. Yeah, we're probably dead here. I think we could go a couple of turns without hitting, but getting this far without hitting our 3rd land drop is really rough. Maybe we'll be all right if they continue to not hit their 2nd. Yikes. Okay. So now I think we need to just gain 4, make a 1/1 right now. I really we can't get this tagged by Skullcrack at this point. I mean, we just die if we do. So going up to 9 here means that there's no combination of cards they could have that could kill us. And then next turn we can hold up Archmage's Charm and do some work there. Or if this is just... Okay, so this deals 1 damage. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we can't cast spells for free, but that's not something we're doing anyway, so yeah, I think that's fine. I'm gonna attack here. I think our best bet is to hope that we can race a bit, although do we need to just Kaya's Guile main phase so they can't keep us from gaining life? Probably. That kind of stinks. Yeah. This at least puts us to 12. We have 2 1/1s in play. If we absolutely have to, we can path something. Although we would prefer not to do that, considering we know they just have, all good spells basically at this point. So we'll have to see what they've got for us. No way that... Okay. I thought for a second that they still had, whatchamacallit, the searing effects in, and I was like, there's no way they still have those. That would be awful. Okay, I think we do need to path this, because we're probably going to have to... It would be really awesome if we draw a land here and we get to Snapcaster Kaya's Guile. I think that's how we can win this game, by gaining more life. Land. Dang it. Okay. Here, I think I'm just going to brainstorm, even though we're probably to lose this to a bolt or something like that. It's the maximum punish right there. Even though we're probably going to lose that to a bolt, I just really think that we needed to try to find a land here. So I guess we can put back like a Snapcaster and then an Archmage's Charm on top. Play our land. I am not going to attack here. I'd like to be able to trade this off if possible. Now we're a little scared. There are combinations of cards that they could have that could potentially kill us. Yeah, it's a bit scary. I will just throw 2 things in front of this, however, at this point. If we get the chance, of course. Bolt our face. Okay. So now I'll just chump it. Oh, wow. And bolt our face. Okay. Interesting sequencing here on their part. So yeah, we're going to have to block, and then hopefully they don't have another land so that we can Snapcaster Kaya's Guile them again. We're still in a pretty rough spot, however. It's pretty scary. Surprised they didn't aim one of these at the Jace, considering the Jace is still at 3, and that matters quite a bit. I'll still brainstorm here. Goodness gracious. I think... How many Guiles do we have? We have 2 Guiles in the yard, right? So I do want both these snaps. So I think I'm just going to put back, push Archmage's Charm, because it's kind of expensive. Then we'll snap Kaya's Guile right now so that they can't Roiling Vortex us. Them not being able to leave up mana for this has been a huge deal. If they had had more mana, were able to do that, we'd probably be pretty dead. Okay, make them sack, gain 4. Go to 6. Could still die here. We're effectively at like 5, but really at like 4. Like we're probably dead to a Boros Charm because I'd love to be able to fetch these cards away. And if they have a Boros Charm, they can Boros Charm plus leave up 1, which matters quite a bit. So I'm not going to end up cracking this fetch on end step if they don't do anything, because we're basically just dead to that. So I'm probably going to have to leave that be for now, unfortunately. Okay, and it looks like we're just dead here. It looks like they ripped 2 more burn spells. So, yeah, let's see here. Maybe if they go for a burn spell here, we can fetch an island and opt. Maybe we find a force negation and get super lucky. So let's give that a shot. See what we've got here. Force? Huh. Force. 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 Dang it. Alright. Bummer. That was pretty close, actually. Obviously, if we just didn't stumble for the, however many turns it was we stumbled for, that would make a pretty big difference there. Bummer, but not the end of the world. So we have Gusts and Purge to be able to answer that. I kind of want to take this path out and bring in an Esper Charm as well, too, to answer that Vortex, as well as just, be a decent card. Make them, potentially discard 2 cards or us gain 2 more cards could be nice as well, too. So we're going to go with that. Yes, I would love to play first. Come on, Moto. Taking your sweet time. All right, this hand's pretty good. It is a bit of a bummer that, we don't have, whatchamacallit, we don't have a piece of 2-mana interaction, but if they're on creatures, we're going to be in a pretty good spot. This Force looks a little awkward without another blue card to pitch, but, I mean, it's probably fine as 3-mana negate anyway, a decent amount of the time. So we'll have to see, but that's kind of the hope here. I'm just going to play this one tapped. They could potentially Goblin Guide us, yes, but I think I'm okay with taking the 2 from Goblin Guide and saving the 2 here. I mean, it's effectively the exact same amount of damage. And if they have anything less than Goblin Guide here, then this is actually just fine. Yeah. So here we're saving 2 damage to take 1. So really just saving 1 damage, which is perfectly fine. I think I will then play... I'm going to play the Flooded Strain here now, because now if they have a Goblin Guide, we can do the like Scry trick. Get a free Scry off of it, which could be pretty nice. I'm just going to let them untap. There's nothing that they have that... I mean, I guess Boros Charm could give this indestructible, but at this point, I would let Boros Charm give Monastery Swift Spirit indestructible. But there really isn't much that punishes us for letting them untap and then trying to push. Yeah, see, now we have the Goblin Guide trick. And they won't have Skullcrack up, so next turn we can play Mystic Gate into Kaya's Guile away the other creature, which would be pretty nice. Cool. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and... Yeah, I mean, I guess we can just do it now. I'll just go ahead and push this now. So that'll die. They'll go to combat. They'll attack. Then we'll take... whatchamacallit? Take our Scry off of the Flooded Strand. And then get to untap and Guile this away, which is pretty good for us. So see what we got. What do you got for us? Bam. What is it? Mana Leak. Do we want Mana Leak? I think... Next turn we're going to Guile them. I think we actually don't want Mana Leak. I'd like to have another Guile, another Snapcaster, or... let's grab our Hallowed Fountain here. Potentially a Gust or Purge, something like that. I don't really want to get in a spot where we play the Guile here, and then they untap and they play Eidolon. That's a way that we could potentially die. Or potentially lose this game. So instead, I'm going to just do this now. And the Mana Leak, especially if they knew about it, they now that they have 2 mana, they would jam whatever their most important spell is this turn. If we had the Mana Leak, we could, I guess, force pitch the Mana Leak to counter some things. I don't even think we want to counter that at this point. Like, we're at 17 life, and we have a Teferi that can potentially tuck this, which is pretty good for us. Yeah, so we can play this tapped. Come on, there we go. And now what we can do is we can just hold back on this Force of Negation or this push. So we really have most things covered for this next turn, because we can force something or push, you know, an Eidolon or something that's a bit scary like that. Then we can untap and we can play this Teferi and just, honestly, depending on what we've been drawing, we can probably go up again with it, which would be pretty good. Okay, this will probably eat a push. We'll see. I think I want to push this. If I can avoid it, I don't want them to turn on Skewer with this. With this damage, I should say. I'd prefer for them to have to actually spend their mana to deal damage to us to then skewer, as opposed to, like, you know, just turning something sideways, because there's a reasonable chance that they're stuck on, you know, a skewer or two. They haven't really had too many turns where they've dealt damage to us and had mana up. So this turns that off, which is pretty good. And maybe that's the case because they're just passing now. Or they could potentially have a bolt, which is fair as well too. Take another one off this. Would love to draw, like, a Mana Leak would be really good. Ooh, that's pretty decent, actually. So I think I'm going to... So if I go up with this, it goes up to 5. It would have to eat 2 spells to die. I kind of like that, actually. Yeah, I like going up with this. We're really just... It feels like we're, like, one Kaya's Guile away from kind of just shutting the door closed on this game, potentially. Um, or even digging for something like Purge is good here, or Esper Charm is good here. Ways to just take that off the table. Gust as well, too, is pretty decent. What could be a little scary is if they have a bunch of burn, they point it all at the Teferi, and if we use a force pitching the other Teferi to save this one. So I think that if they just start throwing burn at this Teferi, we're just going to have to let that go at this point. Even though it means that we can't use this Teferi to tuck that Vortex, I think that that has to kind of be okay. Yikes. A second one is pretty scary, though. So I think we're going to go ahead and do this. Oh, my goodness. Hidden text on Vortex. Wow. We just took 5 off of that, and I did not realize that that's how that would work. Oh, goodness. Okay, here, now I'm going to tuck this, and I'm going to Snapcaster Guile. Wow, I had completely forgotten about that alternative text on there. That is, yikes. That's pretty scary. Should, definitely am scared of that. Okay, let's go. Create a 1/1, gain 4. Yep, seems good. And then just her F6 value, let's just fetch now. Get this out of the way. 6 through their turn. They've still got 4 cards in hand, so I'm definitely scared. This Teferi's probably going to eat it to something this turn. Probably just, you know, a Bolt or Skewer or a Lava Spike or, you know, whatever. Lightning Helix even, who knows. But it's probably going to eat it to something this turn, and when that happens... Wow, it did not, in fact. Okay. And we drew a Cryptic Command, which is awesome because it actually can potentially answer this, which is kind of sweet. So, what do we want to do now? I think we can just pass. This Cryptic Command not dealing us any damage is pretty sweet off this Eidolon. I guess we can attack with this. Because we can, you know, try to offer a trade up here if they were to attack, which is pretty sweet. And if we do need to counter something, like, you know, they do have that Vortex coming down again pretty quickly. And if that happens, we can, you know, counter that. Potentially, even if they're tapping 2 mana, end up bouncing the Eidolon itself, or we can just draw cards, which is probably better, all things said and done. Can I get that charger, please? And so what I think we need to do is, I think we need to just draw a card. Come on, Moto. Come on, Moto. Oh, did it work? Come on. Okay. That's also a pretty decent draw, actually. That's pretty good news for us. I don't like that it will take 2 damage off of it, but it's another answer for the vortex, which is pretty good. So I'll go ahead and go up again here. Thank you. Ooh, that's also a really good draw. Let's do this. Filter through. Play this. I think at this point, I'm just going to bounce this Eidolon, actually. Because what that does... Come on, Moto. Is with this Spell Snare in hand, we have the answer to it, which is pretty sweet. Sorry about that. All right, back here. So now we've got the Spell Snare to tag and answer what they're doing. Probably playing this Eidolon again, I suppose. The Vortex, yeah, that one can eat this as well too. I think at this point we're in pretty good shape. So we can draw with this Teferi first. See what we have. Snapcaster. Okay, I think I'm actually going to plus on them and just keep a land off the top if I can avoid it. Lightning Bolt. Put that on the bottom. No, actually, that's fine. Play this out. Go to combat. I'm going to attack for 3 here. They haven't shown us any haste creatures, and all they have is the Eidolon, which we can snap and Spell Snare here, and I think that's pretty good for us. Nope, don't need anything. Looks like Moto sped up when I started charging the computer. It got a lot happier when I went to address that problem. Bolt Darface, that's fine, and then this is probably like Skewer. They go for Skewer, we can snap Cryptic. Yeah. I suppose actually what I want to do here is snap Force. Because then I can use my Jace to bounce one of these Snapcasters after attacking with it this next turn. And then I still have Cryptic up. Which is pretty good here. Let's see. We draw off this. Archmage's Charm, that's terrific. Okay, now we probably don't even have to do that. Let's just see what we've got going on anyway. With that makes me want to Brainstorm. Plus this is at 4 anyway. Okay, yeah, we're sitting totally fine here. I'm actually just gonna put both the lands on top for now. I think they should be dead. I don't think they have anything that can get through this at this point. We get to, we have Archmage's Charm plus Gusts up, and that should be about it. Although I suppose we do need one more attack to finish things off, but all things considered, that should be pretty trivial at this point, I'm sure. So I'll just Gust this one. They'll probably have to put it on the bottom because that's a 2-mana spell. Yeah. They're hoping to rip a land, I'm sure. So let's just +2 on them. We have 2 counter spells, so +2 on you. Put that on the bottom. Nope. Play this. We can go ahead and safely crack before we plus this Teferi. Yeah, and we are just solid against everything now. I mean, we've got 2 counter spells plus a purge up, so come on, let's go. There we go. And they're at 1, so yep, should be fine here. They have a lava spike on top. We get to just counter that, and then get to handle whatever it is that they might have as their other card too. So lava spike, counter that. GG's indeed. I'm sure they've just got another one hanging out. Bam. And there we go. Should be our solid 2-0 right there. Let's see what else they've got. Sure, just, yeah. Add me. Okay. Let's give that a shot, see what happens. Who knows? All right, well, regardless, we will be moving on, and I will see you in match number 3. All right, so here we are with round number 3, and we've got a pretty okay hand. Although it isn't, fantastic, we don't have much to do to affect the board. Having 2 ops and a Snapcaster, really 3 ops then, I suppose, at this point is pretty good. And, we do have 4 lands, which is solid because we are a pretty mana-hungry deck, so there's a decent chance that that'll be, helpful for us as well, too. We'll have to see kind of what we're up against here. I'm a little scared that it could be blue-red prowess. Seems like a pretty reasonable possibility here. If that's the case, this Kyle's a pretty solid draw. Guile, I should say. Oh, it's Blue Moon. Okay, or rather, Blue-Red Control, at least. Okay. Yeah, I think Cryptic's a pretty good card. We'll keep that. Force Negation's probably pretty good here, then. This is probably one of those blue-red decks that's playing... Oh, maybe if they're on a bunch of Steam Vents, it's not the case. I was going to say that's playing Boil, but maybe not. Go ahead and grab our Hollowed Fountain tapped here. Cast an Opt. If they have like a click or something, then it's whatever. Opt is fine too. Yeah, maybe they... No, they don't? Okay. I'll just play this out as well too. We'll see what they're doing. This is okay, so it's Snapcaster. Now I'm a little sad. I wish I played this Guile because I could make them eat this and eat that away, but I'm sure that's fine, all things said and done. Because I will also probably end up Snapcaster opting, although I'll do it after they've already hit us. I don't think that we need to be super concerned with that. Oh, they put one on the bottom. Okay, that's good. Although maybe I will offer this trade, because if I do that and they have something that we get to force a negation, that could be kind of cool. Yeah, I think I will, actually. Because this kind of baits out something that we can tag with this force negation. Although this could just bait out, a bolt, which is fine too. I think at this point, I'd rather have the bolt going towards the snap than going towards our face or something, which is perfectly fine. I'll just go to trade these off. Although technically we're winning in the race, they do have lightning bolts, which just means that I don't want to get caught in a spot where we're, dead to a couple of bolts off the top or something silly like that. And I'll just cast this opt. I'll put that on top. There's a pretty unlikely situation that we're going to be casting that anytime soon, but I still think I want to put that on top there. I'm going to go ahead and play out the non-fetch lands. I think that that's a little bit better with having this Jason hand. This is a matchup where a card like Vendilion Click would be pretty solid right now. Esper Charm would even be pretty good. I would just try to make them discard too, which would be pretty solid. Flooded Strand, not so much. Pluto Delta, also not so much. I mean, hitting your land drops is important, obviously. That Snapcaster is pretty good. Probably means we get to just Snap Opt again on their end step. But, hitting your land drops is important, but you also need a pretty critical mass of interactive spells if you want to win the first big counter spell. war, which does matter quite a bit. Yeah, I'm not going to crack this land yet, I don't think. Could be holding things like mana leaks. This could potentially be like a remand on this. Remand on that would be pretty good. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and try to get in here. Probably have some number of bolts. Seems fine, I'm sure. Curious why they're playing this if they're not on. So a lot of lists. Weird. I personally probably would have just done that now. They don't want to get caught in a spot where they're gonna die to a silly number of snaps or something, but it is what it is, I suppose. Interesting that they're playing that land and they're not playing. They're still playing all these islands because typically when you see something like that, it's because they're trying to play Boil, specifically for these blue mirror matches. I'm gonna fetch here, by the way, because I think that we already have another land, and while drawing lands is not bad, like I said, we really need some sort of spells to get attraction here. And now, do I want to play this Jace? I think I do, because I can hold up Hardcast Force. So if they counter this, I'm gonna let that happen. Remand. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And then next turn, we'll probably try it again. I like having Logic Knot and Mana Leak here instead of Remand being on their side of things. I think that that's pretty solid for us. What is this? Are they debating Snapcaster just bolting our face? Oh, that's why they're doing this. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and Kaia's Guile this then right now. Suppose if they have exactly Force into untap Kiki Jiki, that could be... Oh, that's actually the worst choice you could make, I think. Maybe they're thinking they just don't have what they need to be able to compete with this Jace, and they're trying to turn off a nice Brainstorm or something. That could be it. I'm just going to eat the cards out of their yard, by the way. I think that turning off their future snaps is pretty solid. Yeah, and that just happened. Cool. So now we have to dodge Jace plus third remand, or Mana Leak, or some sort of counterspell like that. Oh, it's a 5-mana spell. Is it Kiki Jiki? No, it's like Ral or something. I'm gonna pitch a Cryptic here. It's actually just really expensive. No way they have Spell Pierce, right? Whoa, Flusterstorm in the main? Whoa, that's pretty crazy. Alright. So we get to untap and play a Jace. It'll be Jace against this Ral, I guess? Huh. Now we just are hoping that they don't have a Force for our Jace, I suppose. Or if we draw land, we can even counter their Force if they do have one. Flusterstorm in the main. That is something. I have to say, I was not expecting that one. Snapcaster. So that just gets back an opt. Don't love that. Okay. At this point, I think we need to go up. I'm going to look at their top card. I'm just going to keep... Cool. No, you can have that one. I was just going to say I'm just going to keep cards that can interact with this Jace off the battlefield if I can avoid it. Everything else is probably fine. Like I said before, really would love to have something like a... what would I like here? Esper Charm to potentially make them discard 2. That could be really, really solid. So probably not on Blood Moons with this style of mana base, huh? Yeah. Now end step, I do want a Snapcaster opt. Obviously they can have, some pieces of counter magic or removal for the snap or something. But I think if we're doing nothing, this ultimate is happening in 2 turns, and that actually could be kind of scary. Oh, that counts for exile too. Wow, that's cool. I forgot that there were some cards in that set that said graveyard or exile, like the Crackling Drakes and things like that. So this is a remand or opt again. They find number 3. Yikes. Oh no, it's just bolt that. Yeah, sure, that's fine. That is okay. I'll keep that one. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one too. In the control mirror, that's a pretty solid card. I would like to put the bummer is now we have some pretty dead cards, I suppose. I will put the Jace down. No. Land and then Jace, so we can opt this Jace off of the top. Or if they don't do anything, we could potentially scry to. I think I do want to counter that one. Because it costs triple blue. Need to tap that way. I think I do want to do that. Don't want them to be able to filter through everything, you know? That seems a little suspect. Put this Jace on the bottom, draw ourselves a land. Brainstorm again. I guess we are actually kind of soft to this combo at this point. Wow, they're binning a Snapcaster. The other card must have been very good. They're binning a Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, I mean, we need to find something to tag that with. So I think we're going to hope that we can find another piece of interaction so that we can try to bounce this and do something. I don't know. Yikes. Okay. That probably does almost nothing at this point. It's pretty scary. Yeah, let's see. Probably dead here. Because if they have basically anything, yeah, and they can pay for this mana leak. Man, that Flusterstorm in the main, that really got us. Now we would need to have something that we don't have access to. So I think we're probably just dead here. Yikes, this is not what I expected in a blue-red style mirror. Is there one of 5 mana Planeswalker just marched up to ultimate way too quick and we couldn't handle it. That's pretty scary. Alright, I think I'm just going to pack this one in. They just cast basically anything. This is any instant sorcery, right? Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, let's just pack that one in. That's a bummer. Okay, post board. We do get some awesome tools, though, in Teferi and Dovin's Veto, which are things that they do not get access to. We also get Mystical Dispute, Vendilion Click, Mentor, and I think we do want Purge to be able to tag that. What else does that? Well, it obviously tags Kiki Jiki if we needed to, which is good as well, too. And then I think I want to trim on the pushes. They don't seem great in the verdicts. And one other cut, what would I like it to be? I want to keep the path in. Maybe it's... Maybe it's a Guile. I think I can eat their yard, though. Force Negation seems good, too. Spell Snare seems great. I want Path to be able to protect against some things. If possible, for only 1 mana. That seems pretty good. 2 mana counter spells seem pretty decent. I don't like trimming on Cryptic in a matchup like this because the card itself is just so good. Maybe I'll just bin like an opt. Probably is not correct, but I really like that Esper Charm can be a discard too. So sometimes they feel like they have to counter it, as well as just drawing 2 is obviously fine. This hand's much better in the in the pseudo mirror, I suppose. Oh, I didn't even bring in the Thoughtseize, did I? I definitely should have brought in the Thoughtseize. If we get to a game 3, that'll be something that I bring in. It was just piled up with Eliminate. I must have just missed it for some reason. Relic? Okay. I don't think Relic is great against the Snapcaster decks, especially in the Snapcaster mirror. I'll keep that. You kind of have to leave up quite a bit of mana most of the time. Sure, I'll yield to that. Eat this Flooded Strand. You got it. You got it, friend. You have to leave up mana for it, and it can potentially make things awkward for you as well too. It's probably fine. Maybe they just didn't have, too many cards left. Cast another Opt. Love that card. Ooh, that was a misplay. I played the Plains without thinking as I realized that I was drawing that card, which is potentially just completely incorrect. Would love to find ourselves a small Teferi in another land so that we can small Teferi with Mana Leak backup and then potentially put one on the bottom. Okay. A small Teferi with Mana Leak backup and then potentially have Force as well too to answer if they do have, I don't know, Ral, Jace, whatever they could potentially have after that. We put one on the bottom and one on the top. Probably looking for lands, be my guess. Sure, you got me. All right, so now we are looking for a small Teferi. I think I am going to... Yeah, I'll Mana Leak that. I just don't want them to have something on the board if I can avoid it. Not that the Opt they were flashing back was necessarily scary or anything, but I think that's fine. Yep. We will play as though we do not have a graveyard opponent. You figured it out. Nothing here. Okie doke. Go ahead and pass. End step, I'll probably try to draw 2 with this Archmage's Charm. End of their turn, I should say. Yeah, I'll do this again. I think like they only have so many cards that can really kill us, Jaces, Rals, and Snaps. That's about it. I mean, I guess they have the combo, but it seems pretty unlikely that we get comboed out. So, being able to tag and answer those things seems pretty fine for us as well, too. Now we can draw 2. Wow, not even kind of considering fighting over that. That is interesting to me. And now we've got Veto and Force Negation, which all seems pretty solid. Sure. They're gonna untap. Wow, what a use! They're gonna untap that so that they can eat our Archmage's Charm. Sure. I'm gonna go to their upkeep and I'm gonna try to path it then, and then we have 2 layers of protection as well too. So path this thing now. Yeah, they're just gonna let that happen. Probably because they have something like turn off auto yields. Sorry, I accidentally hit yield through turn really quick and was a little bit scared that I was gonna get like 5 mana Planeswalker or something like that. I'll play this lane tapped. Say go. We can turn this off here. Yeah, this is another one that's actually kind of scary. I'm gonna counter that. I don't want them to go up more cards here. if I can avoid that. And I'm going to keep this veto for mana reasons as well. Remand. Okay, now I'll go ahead and counter this remand. I don't want that happening. So I still have 3 cards. And if they also have a Planeswalker after this, we're kind of in some hot water, but yikes. They do. They definitely do. They have a... Yikes, they found their one-off. Uh-oh. We're probably dead now. Probably dead now. Maybe we drew too many lands? We'll see. We'll see what goes on here. Okay, Castle's at least an okay one because it means that we get to scry 2 here and look for something. A Purge, a Gust, anything like that. Although, now that they've drawn 2 extra cards off this, there's a decent chance they've just got another counter spell. Alright, Deceiver Exarch hit them in. Yeah, they're just 100% in on the I'm going to kill you with this Ral again. And that's going to be tough to beat, I think, at this point. I think we have to bottom both of these and then upkeep Scry. Yikes. Yikes. Okay. Bottom. Let's draw our card. Purge, maybe? No. Okay, well, I would love to use these lands to get a couple more lands out of our deck, but at this point, we're at a spot where we know we have 4 bad cards on the bottom of our library. Not bad cards, but cards that I don't think are going to do anything for us on the bottom of our library, and that's pretty horrifying. So I think we're probably just dead here. This is definitely a bummer of a matchup, not gonna lie. I think that we had a pretty rough game 1 hand, and we kind of just got taken for a ride there. I think we have to bottom these, because if we don't answer this turn, we're just dead. Yeah, we drew more lands. Alright, let's go ahead and show our opponent. Oof. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we were doing about that. Well, sometimes that's just kind of how it rolls. We still have a solid 2-0, so I will join you later for match number 4. All right, and here we are for, excuse me, match number 4 of our Esper Control League. You can see our mana base is definitely a little awkward here, but I think that hopefully we'll be all right. We'll have to see if our opponent's going super fast. Oof. Okay. Well, that makes things a little bit awkward. We do not have a Kaya's Guile with currently, but should be pretty good if we were to find one. Have to pull all this out for our opponent, see what all they're working with. This is Dredge, for those who are unaware, which means that basically they're trying to put their entire graveyard... Oh my lord. I think we have to let that resolve. Trying to put their entire graveyard into... My goodness, do we just ditch all the good cards? Mana Leak, Archmage's Charm, and Swamp. Entire graveyard into... Sorry. Their entire hand into their graveyard, I should say. And that is potentially a pretty big problem for us. I was kind of hoping that off that, maybe there was a chance we found something good like a Kaya's Guile there. Did not. I wonder if they're going to... Huh. Okay. So looks like an interesting list with Burning Inquiries and multiple Oxes. I don't know if that's typical. I know I've seen a decent amount of lists that just have like an Ox or 2. That's about it. Okay. I don't believe they have a land, right? Okay, they do not have any dredgers, correct? So I think we'll let this resolve again. Oh, yeah, of course we should have done that, because they weren't going to be dredging. Obviously. Well, that was a huge mistake. I don't know why I was thinking that simultaneously, because they weren't dredging and that it was both good and bad for us at the same time. That was obviously awful. Wow. Okay. Well, let's see what they have. Is this another one? Oh Lord. Okay. Really would love a Kaya's Guile here. I didn't ditch any into the yard either, which kind of stinks. Force negation. Probably dead. Can pass, and we can try to maybe Esper Charm, draw 2. They're taking 3, 6, 9, 11 damage is what we're going to be taking. So maybe we can draw 2, untap, and Wrath. And if they don't have another land, although I thought they got back a loam, maybe that's wrong. So it says to find basic planes. Draw 2, white, black, blue. Wrath? No? Wrath? No, alright, we are dead. Yikes. Okay, so Burning Inquiry Dredge, huh? Clearly I made a mistake. I should have just been firing off those force negations much sooner, which is a problem. Here, I think we want the Veto, the Guiles. Is there anything else we want? Veto and Guiles. Probably don't want Esper Charm. I don't think this does anything except for it's just divination. I think that's about it. And then maybe just cut like a cryptic because they're a little slow. I don't like that. Try something like that. I don't think we want cards like Thoughtseize. It's just not going to be very good. Oh, that's a bummer. This is a keep, but it's not great. I think we'll actually just put this Snapcaster back. It's not going to do anything in a timely fashion here. Say no and pass through this turn. I think it's, looking like a 4-mana spell, and at this point we already have 2 really impactful and good 4-mana spells. This is probably Haggle. The instant half of the creature that has an adventure of discard a card, draw a card, or whatever. Or maybe they have nothing. Could be that as well too. Nothing. Okay. That's even better for us then. Now hopefully they're going for a cathartic that we get to counter. Yeah, looks like it. 2 imps, huh? Yikes. So I'm gonna get to dredge that back anyway. Force negation, huh? Okay. So they're dredging 1 imp, they got a chill and a amoeba. That's fine. Really in the hunt for these Kaya's Guiles still. I think I just can't let them dredge that much. That's dredge probably close to 15 at this point. Okay, if they have another cathartic, we might just be dead. They just have double cathartic and burning inquiry. We might just be in some pretty big trouble here. Yeah, it looks like they do. Maybe they're just conflagging to ditch their whole hand. I would much prefer that. Hopefully it's just conflag, ditch your 3 cards. That would be fine. It is, okay. Guile. Dang it. Man, a Guile would have been so good there. So good there. I think here we need to play this Jace and brainstorm to try to find ourselves a Guile. We still did not find one. Yikes, yikes, yikes. I'll put the verdict on top. I don't know, maybe they have a Thoughtseize effect or something, and we might need that, so. Okay. This is definitely scary. So they're oxing here. And they'll get a prized amalgam back for that. Okay. Yeah, 3 stinkweeds and a prized amalgam. My lord. Okay. That's pretty sweet. And I guess we get to at least... Yikes, they're gonna have stinkweed, stinkweed, stinkweed. So we really need a guile, huh? We get to wrap them this next turn, then they just ox us again? Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay, so that happens. Rainstorm. Oh my lord. This and this. I don't think the charm's doing anything. Go ahead and pass. And then we'll fetch. Not a chill. That's actually super bad because it means that Bloodghasts have haste now. Yikes. Okay. We'll just ditch this all the way out there so that way they get lots of cards to be seen. If this is the loan that they dredged back, I will force that. Looks like it is. They're choosing their targets. I'm going to go ahead and opt first. Because we can pitch the Snapcaster. The Snapcaster isn't doing anything. No, they're not loaning. Okay. The Snapcaster isn't doing anything. So that's fine. Okay, discard their hand. Dredging a whole heck of a lot. Yikes. So 2 more chills. So I think we have to... Man, do we even have any outs left? Because even if we guile, we're just going to die to this anyway, right? So, push. So now we can... If we make them sack and eat their yard, they'll probably just sack one of the amalgams. We'd have 2 mana left for Snapcaster. And then we would still die if we don't bounce one of the amalgams. So alternatively, we can... Just trying to think of if we need to bounce with this Jace, or if we can... If we draw 3 cards, we find a land, we get to all modes this Guile, and that would help us live, right? But it would have to be not a shock land. If it's a fetch land, we can find a basic with it, drop to 2, we'd go back up to 6. That would be good. Otherwise, we can, like I said, Guile, and then bounce 1, and then snap to block. I think I like brainstorming to try to find... Yeah, we found an untapped land. And this path, too, actually. Wow. So you can put this and this back. Oh, that was wrong. Probably should not have. Whatever. That's okay. So put us to 2. Grab a swamp. All of these. We go to 6. Their whole yard is gone. We hope they don't have, like, I don't know, some sort of piece of removal that I doubt they have, but maybe there's a world that they do. I wonder if they have to go after the Jace here. Yeah, they're just going after the Jace. Okay, so I'm not even going to block then. Just going to let that die. Okay. And now that they're down to only 5 cards, I think we can probably deck them. So we can Snapcaster, Guile, and Path. That seems pretty good. I guess we can just pass the turn then. Let them attack. Alternatively, we can block here, path our own creature, untap, and snap full mode the Guile. But I don't think we need to go that deep. Path this one. Probably don't have a land for him. Yeah. Snapcaster. Kaya's Guile. This time I'm going to make them sack. Gain 4. Yeah. I was going to just gain 4 life because at that point, going up to 10 means that we're insulated against a Conflagrate as well too, which is pretty good. So I like that. Yeah, I wonder if we want Purge because they are pretty heavy on the Ox. And being that way, I kind of think I want to be able to answer that, although it may not be fantastic. And then on the draw, just go down one of these other clunky counterspells. I think that seems fine. Just looking for more Guiles again. Kaya's Guile has the potential to be super good. We had a couple of plays where Guile would have been like the actual nuts. We've got one, but no black mana. Yikes. Nothing until we Guile on 3. Even then, we don't even know for sure if we'll get to Guile. The problem is Kaya's Guile is such a good card in this matchup. It's hard to want to mulligan a hand with it, but I think we have to. I think this is a disciplined mulligan here. And this is much better. Now we get to just bin one of these lands. I guess Polluted Delta for the sake of maybe they have like a Pithing Needle that shuts off our lands or something silly like that. But okay, we binned 2 ops. It's kind of a bummer. Would have liked to have had those. They binned an Ox. Alright. Oh boy. Burning Inquiry. That is something, huh? Let's just loam some lands back now. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch, shock, and opt in response here with the reason that if we do find a force, I probably will force this at this point. Exiling is pretty important. No? Okay. It's a bummer, but oh well. I'll play this land. Now I'm sad that I found the Watery Grave. I wish I would have found a Hollowed Fountain because we have our double black land here, but all things considered, that is not the end of the world. Okay, just dredging some more. Can't interact with that. Creeping Chill cannot interact with that. Wow, that was quite the hit. Double Stinkweed, Life in the Loam. Now we're hoping they don't have another Inquiry, although I guess we have Mana Leak, so we've got that kind of covered. But if they have something else scary like that, it could be in some trouble. Like double Inquiry could be pretty bad for us here if they have another land, which we know they do from the loam earlier. So this is gonna be shocking again. Hopefully it's cathartic and we can Mana Leak it, and then maybe we can untap and draw a Guile. That would be pretty sweet. Maybe? Or is it Ox? Ox would be kind of cool too. They only have 9 cards in the yard, so it would just be the Ox. It would just be discard their hand, draw 3. I still don't think we can let that happen, unfortunately, but yeah, I think that's what's happening. And then now they've decided they want to loam instead. That's fine. Loam is okay. I think we want to save this for the Ox or something that lets them actually like aggressively dredge. I think that's what we want to be doing. No Guile. Bummer. So once again, Guile would have been pretty sweet there. Hopefully we'll find our way to one. These natural draws on these chills are a little scary because they mean that Bloodghast are potentially even scarier for us. You know, right now they have a bunch of lands, so now maybe this is Ox time, leaving like an Imp and a Loam, and we get to Mana Leak that, which should be good. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, so Mana Leak that one. We have 8 cards in hand, but we know that most of them are lands, actually. Could have been keeping track of exactly how many. I want to say it's somewhere in the range of like 3 or 4 are lands. Okay. Grab our Hollowed Fountain. Kai's Guile? Jace. Okay, Jace is fine. Now comes the question of, do we want to Jace or do we want to Cryptic? And I think I want a Jace, actually. And brainstorm here, finding ourselves another Guile or another land, and then potentially a Guile. Both seem really good for us. Yeah, so I'm gonna put Teferi. Actually, I'll put land and then Teferi back. Yeah, that seems fine. And then pass the turn on to them. Now we have an answer for the Ox if they play it, although they probably get to dredge quite a bit. Oh, I hadn't considered this. This is a little scary. Okay, these get to come down with haste now. Yikes. Okay, we might be in some big trouble. I hadn't considered instant speed dredge into untap and dredge. That's actually pretty scary for us. Okay, yeah, they get to play a land, get back Bloodghast. Although this isn't stuff that we could have interacted with Cryptic Command anyway. But yeah, they get to play a land, get back all 4 Bloodghast. Are you serious? They hit all 4 of them? Oh my gosh. Get back all 4 Bloodghasts. Put us to 2. Uh, Yikes. Which also gets back the Prized Amalgam. They then also get to get back the Ox. So if they have a Conflagrate in hand, we're actually dead, right? Because they just Ox, discard their hand, dredge a whole bunch, Conflag us for 3, and then Bloodghast us. Yeah, we're dead if they have a Conflagrate in hand, which is wild that we were at 10 and they had 2 cards in the yard. They end step dredged a bunch of Bloodghasts, untapped dredged a bunch of Bloodghasts again. Yikes, that is pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. Loaming? Really? You're just gonna get back more lands? Don't you already have a whole bunch? Okay. Okay. Yep, this is fine. Just gonna F6 through this turn. I mean, it's not fine. We're probably dead. Weird. As to why they're doing things in this particular order, I do not know. I would think they'd want to hold the land so that if we rip a Wrath off the top, but I guess a Wrath off the top doesn't even do it, right? Because they these Bloodghast have haste now. So I don't really know what we're looking for. I suppose they probably, if they don't have the Conflagrate, probably should have cycled and oh no, we're just dead because they hit a Creeping Shell? Oh, man, I was not expecting to die this way. That was that was pretty impressive. Well, I mean, I guess sometimes you pay mana and then you just straight up die. That's kind of how that works. Unfortunate. We definitely have a pretty solid matchup there, I feel like, with all 4 of the Guiles in the main. But as you can see, the one matchup we won was the one matchup where we actually found a Kaya's Guile. And had we had a Kaya's Guile in that last game, we would have had a really awesome opportunity at our end step when they went to dredge. And then in their draw step, when they dredged again and hit all of those cards, we could have then eaten all of them. It would have been, what, 2 Amalgams, 2 Stinkweeds, all 4 of their Bloodghast, and one of their Oxes as well too. So it probably would have been basically game just right there if we would have had that. So, you know, Kaya's Guile is super important in the dredge matchup, obviously, as our instant speed, one-sided graveyard nuke. It obviously matters quite a bit. We just couldn't quite find it that game, which is a bummer, but not the end of the world. Although I really don't know if we would have had any better luck if we would have even if we would have had a Wrath even off the top or anything. I think we were at the point where we had to just like Cryptic tap like the rest of the game basically, and hope that they really just didn't have anything. But obviously, they still had 20 cards left. I think they still had probably at least one more Creeping Chill, probably two Creeping Chills. And if they had one or even two more, like, it's going to get us. So, tough one there. Definitely a tough one there. All right, here we are on our fifth round of Esper Control, seeing if we can pull out that 3-2 after a couple of fairly mediocre ones. Here we're playing against Obosh, so I can only imagine is mono red. I like that we have push and mana leak on the play, so I think I actually am going to keep this. I much prefer if this was a Kaya's Guile to an Esper Charm, but you can't really be super greedy in these game one mulligans, because even though they have an Obosh, it could also be, for a while, there were like Ponza lists that were playing it. And if we were playing against Ponza, I'm totally fine with a hand like this as well, too. So, yeah, see? And it looks like that might even be the case. Utopia Sprawl. Do we want to force that? I don't think so. Yeah, because we just have Mana Leak for whatever it is that they do next. There is a consideration to it, only because cutting off their mana, putting them to two mana on turn 2 is pretty good. They don't have anything at 2 mana that they can actually do. And now that we do this third land, I feel even better, because now we get to Mana Leak. And then if we really felt, if they don't draw land, they kept a one lander or something, we could even do something like, oh boy. Even do something like, sorry, Esper Charm their Utopia Sprawl. Although we are definitely not going to be doing that in this situation. I'd love to draw a fetch land, actually. Okay, so that's a bit worrisome, only because now we're a little soft to another Magus specifically. If it's a Blood Moon itself, we're actually fine, because we get to float mana and Esper Charm that. But let's see what they got here. They've got 4 cards left. I think I'm going to make them discard 2. No, I'll need to draw 2. We don't have a land drop for next turn, and I think we probably need one. Oops. That's right, I have to use these filter lands. Play blue. Undo, undo. Let's try this again. Tapping with these is, oh my lord. Didn't even tap this one for black. Okay. Black, blue, white, blue. There we go. Goodness gracious. Alright. So we drew a 4th land, which is good. Now we get to have Cryptic up, which is obviously awesome. Means that we are fine against Magus itself. And now I think we're in a pretty okay spot. There's some consideration to pushing this bird, but I think that, at this point, I'd rather just be able to counter their spells and make sure that I can do that. If we need to, we will probably force pitching the other force. If we get to a spot where we feel like we need to do that, let's just put Obosh in hand. Yeah, so they have an Obosh in hand. That seems fine. It's not actually doing anything here. I think end of turn. I'll just push this bird. Draw land. Okay. So now question is, do we want to play Jace and go shields down to let them resolve their Obosh? I think that's fine. The card that I'm actually the most worried about here is the God Clothis. Could potentially be something that could be hard to deal with, but I think at this point, I don't know that we're going to get a better point to resolve this Jace, or a more comfortable point, I should say. I think I am just going to brainstorm. I know that they could bolt this down. They probably do have a bolt in hand, so it's probably something they're considering right here, even. I just really don't want to get ourselves into a spot where we, wow, sorry, now these choices are hard. I think I'm going to put back land and then snap and plan to not fetch here. What I really don't want to have happen is to plus it and then to have it eat 2 bolts anyway would be pretty awful for us. Top of our deck is super hot now. We have Snapcaster into another land, so that's good. My hope is that they are trying to Blood Moon us here, so we can force a negation this. Oof. Okay, that's a problem. Go ahead and shrink this back in now that we're not playing against Dredge again. That's a lot of cards right there that they're about to draw. Yikes. Now we definitely need this snap so we can snap push this. I think we'll say go. And on their upkeep, we'll plan to snap push this. Go ahead and fetch right now. Just grab an island. Snapcaster. It's a bummer we were 1 mana short of being able to hold this up as well too, but oh well. So the reason I'm doing this on upkeep, by the way, is because they wisely did not crack their land end of turn. We would have done it in response to their fetch if they would have done it end of turn. But because they didn't, what I want to do is make sure that we're not in a spot where they get to like play another fetch land and then hold up more opportunities to crack and make clues. We just don't want to, get kind of caught in that kind of dance and end up with them way up on cards or something crazy like that. Now if they just play like the Obosh, that's fine. Season Pyromancer. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. That kind of stinks. Hopefully we can find ourselves. Hopefully they discard 2 lands. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then we can rip a Kaya's Guile off the top. Would be kind of sweet, actually. So that we could guile this away and their yard so they don't get it back as well, too. The problem is they just have these 2 clues just sitting here that are obviously going to be pressuring us quite a bit. I think I am going to offer up this trade here. I'd rather be aggressive than defensive here. We're technically a tad bit ahead in this race, and we have a spot where we can Cryptic Command some of their reasonably good spells at some point, and so because they're not really going to be resolving too much, that should be able to take us out at instant speed or anything like that, or with haste or whatever. I feel comfortable trying to kind of race here. But like I said, that Clothis card would really be a problem for us at this point. That would be really tough to deal with, I think. Or could be potentially really tough to deal with. If they're just drawing a bunch of lands and not doing much, then that seems fine for us, though. Just going to get another basic here. If we can get to a point where we don't care about Blood Moon, that would be pretty cool, too. We're getting pretty close. Now that we've fetched, though, I think that's going to change things. Now that we drew another fetch, because that's now 2 damage that we'll have taken off the last 2 fetches. Although they're probably going to be taking 1 here, but still, I think that probably changes things. Also, something I hadn't considered was they're definitely playing Lightning Bolt, and can swing things around pretty quickly. So now they're up all their cards from their clues, and we're back to at parity for cards, which kind of stinks, because we were ahead for quite a while. But I guess they're probably going to offer this trade, and then maybe they just won't even cast anything. And if that's the case, their plan is just to make tokens with this, which is fine. Definitely is fine. Birds of Paradise is a-okay with me. It's not really doing anything. I'm going to leave this one. If they've shown us a Tireless Tracker, I don't want to get in a spot where they get another one in play and we can't deal with it because we don't have Revolt or something silly. So I'll just leave that. It's going to be make some tokens. That's fine. See what they're up to now. They're holding a lot of cards, like a lot of cards. 6 cards seems like quite a bit for that deck, especially since they all have to be ones and threes for the most part. I mean, I doubt they're playing really very many fives. It might be like 5-mana Nissas or something. Yeah, here comes a 5 Gargaroth, potentially. Or this could itself just be Obosh. Although, if they're playing Obosh, they probably should have done that first. Luca, huh? Don't like that one. So let's get that out of here. Okay, they've got 4 cards left. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that we can get to snap Esper Charm away the rest of their cards. I don't know if there is. I think we're going to make 2 white. I think I'm going to Verdict here because we still get to hold up Force Negation for something else, like, you know, potentially another Luca or something like that. And I really don't want to take too much damage if we can avoid that from whatchamacallit, just from the incidental tokens and whatnot. Just stomp our face. Huh. I kind of want to counter that, actually. So if we counter that with Force Negation, the problem is they get to untap and get to, like, Luca or Obosh us. Obosh would be fine, Luca would be less fine, but if we don't counter this, then they're in a spot where they get to just untap, play this, and we don't really have anything to do with that. So actually, yeah, I am going to counter this. Maybe they... I mean, I suppose Emrakul itself is actually an odd, so maybe this is wrong, because maybe they could have, like, Through the Breach Emrakul. I mean, I don't know exactly what this deck's doing, which is part of what makes this a little bit tricky, but, we'll see, I guess. They have a turn of, you know, free reign, and hopefully it's just a bunch of creatures, right? Obosh and something else, and then Season Pyromancer, or something like that would be totally fine with us. Yeah, this is fine. And then just, like, Season Pyromancer, ditch your hand and let me nuke them, too. That'd be kind of cool. Bolt our face. Oh, I hadn't considered that, huh? Obosh... Wow. Alright, I did not play around the third lightning bolt off of Obosh, but I definitely had not considered that either. Uh, we are running into some stuff today, I'll say that much. Anyway, I think we are in for Teferi because we don't want to get Veil of Summer out of the game. Thoughtseize is probably fine because we don't want to get Blood Mooned on super early. We're probably okay with ditching things like Archmage's Charm. They do get to take 1-drops, though, so maybe that's not even right. I don't really love the Supreme Verdicts, although they do get to answer. Man, this is a tricky one. Maybe we don't need these extra Guiles. It's nice to be able to answer some of the Season Pyromancer tokens, but they're not great. The Spell Snare is obviously horrendous. Can't even play 2s. Maybe we just ditch these Force Negations. We know that they have Luca, but I think if we have other answers that might be fine, and then maybe just like one of these, or actually I think I'd rather ditch a Cryptic to be able to keep our curve in consideration there, against potential Veil of Summers and things like that. Yeah. Alright, we'll go with that. Maybe I should be bringing in the Monastery Mentor. Maybe? I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to see how many, like, bolts and things like that they've left in post-board, because that plays a pretty big picture in all of that. Ugh, man. Alright. Mulligan. This one's definitely a keep. I think just gonna pitch this extra push, actually, because we get to snap push anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to pitch the push for that reason. Like, we already get to Snapcaster back this Fatal Push, so if they have another 2 or 1-drop or something that we want to answer, we get to do it anyway. So, I like that. Hopefully this is a bird or an Arbor Elf. Arbor Elf? Bird. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. Get a Watery Grave, untapped, and Bolt the bird, as they often say. I'll just play this tapped. Represent, I don't know, push again, I guess. But more realistically, we just get to, that's something. More realistically, we just get to opt here, which is pretty good. We're pretty soft to a Blood Moon at this point, though, so that's pretty scary, actually. Don't really have any way around that. Nope. Fetch land, Mana Leak, okay, good. And Gust. Sweet. So now we actually have ways to play around that, which is awesome. Or things that get around that, I guess I should say. See what they've got for us here. Kitchen Finks. I think I'm going to Gust that, actually. I just don't want to have to deal with that if we can avoid it. Although maybe I should have Mana Leak. I probably actually should have cast Mana Leak because they didn't have mana up for Veil of Summer. And this could potentially get Veil of Summered. Alright, so now I think we have to pass. I think we need to get at least like one island before I can feel comfortable just playing this Jace out. Because of all of their Blood Moon effects. Yeah. Shoot. I'm gonna Snapcaster Gust this. Because this could be a Veil, and this plays around that. As long as I do it on the stack, I should say. If you let this resolve, it no longer plays around it, so. Let's show game log. I want to see what they do with that Kitchen Finks. Okay, so they put that on top. What did they do with the Kitchen Finks? They put the Kitchen Finks on bottom. Okay. They didn't have another land. So we know they have another tracker coming this next turn, which means that I want to Mana Leak that. And hopefully they don't have Veil in hand and they were just sandbagging it plus a land. That would potentially be pretty scary for us. So go ahead and leak this. Hopefully no Veil. Okay, no Veil. That's good. Do have a land. Okay, so they must have just been sandbagging it then. I'm going to hold on to this because we're going to play this Jace this next turn. Keeping this for the Brainstorm could be good. I am going to Brainstorm again. I think that we just need better cards. And so even if this eats a Bolt, I think we kind of just need it. I'll put this and... It's awkward. I kind of like the path. I haven't really been playing anything meaningful. I'll put these two back. Play this other fetch land. And then we can always... If they don't go to like Blood Moon us or something, we can always go and not crack these lands. So let's just stomp this. Wow, okay. It's fine too. Guess that is the one singular target for Spell Snare that we would have had, huh? That seems fine. Do not have an Obosh in hand yet, so we don't have to be worried about all that kind of nonsense. Relic is coming down a little too late, and I'm fine with that. Just casting this. Okay. So I'm actually going to draw that path then. Just so we have something to deal with that. And I don't want that Glacial Fortress, so I'm just going to fetch a basic Plains right now. And then Brainstorm. And I'll put... kind of want this Guile, actually. So I can put these two back. Put this back, and then this on top. Play this as land for turn. Cast this to Fairy. Draw a card, which will be that Guile. And we get to untap 2 lands. And that's pretty good. Pretty good here. I'll have to see. You have like a bolt in response. They're gonna try and take out this Teferi or this Jace. Probably should have been doing that before, right? No way. Okay, I was gonna say they just let us do that. That's nuts. All right. Yep. Draw a card. And I think we'll just pass and we'll see what they have. If they go to combat, I'll probably guile this away because I don't want to. Whatchamacallit, I don't want to get caught in a spot where Season Pyromancer doesn't let us tag something that we want to tag with the Guile itself. So I'll probably use the Edict effect while they only have one creature in play. It is nice too, obviously, that it plays around whatchamacallit, the damage that it would deal, but I'm not as concerned with that. I'll just make a 1/1, I guess. That seems fine. Just another chump blocker for potentially a future one. I don't really want to eat their Yard. That doesn't seem like it's going to matter here. Gaining 4 to go to 20 is fine, but I think that having another 1/1 to potentially block something later on is probably pretty good. There's a decent chance this is a Blood Moon here, but at this point now we have the Jace and the Teferi out, so we get to kind of, we get to fetch for an island. So we'll still have everything covered. It's not a Blood Moon, okay. Maybe it's Luca? No. Okay. So we'll go ahead and fetch first. Get ourselves an island. That will resolve. Sure. So we can do a lot here. I think I want to start with brainstorming. Okay. Can put back land, path, and then can. No, I don't like that. What if we go land, Archmage's Charm on top? Then what we can do is we can path one of these, tuck the other one with Teferi. We get to then play this, which unlocks our mana. And I don't think they have anything with haste, or even if they do, we have this Guile, so that seems fine. Oh, we should have done that in the other order, huh? We should have tucked and then path, so that way they didn't have it. But I think at this point, I'd rather have them have that card. So actually, that's probably fine. Okay, this is a bit of a bummer, actually. Just lets them draw cards. Maybe this could have been a reason to keep the Archmage's Charm instead of this, but... Oh, I should have responded there. That was really silly. It was really, really silly. I should have responded to that trigger. Okay. So now, I think it's grab an island. Do we want to just full mode this? I guess so. Yeah, if I'd responded to that, I would have gotten this out of the deal, the Season Pyromancer, instead of this token, and then they'd both be exiled out of the graveyard, which would obviously be awesome. So that's a little scary. Definitely a little scary. But if we need to, like for a turn or something, we can Jace bounce this Blood Moon creature. We feel like we have to. Or we can do that. That's pretty good. That's really good, actually. That lets us... Okay, I'll do it this way. Yeah, that lets us Teferi bounce this one to their hand. I'm going to check their top card. I just want to make sure it's not good. Okay, keep that one. And then I'm going to make them discard 2 cards. Black, white, blue. Did I not play a land this turn? Thought I did for some reason, so I thought that tapped for that. Black, blue, and white. And then we just get to hold these 2 back. Which is good. Now we're in a pretty solid spot. We get to potentially, I guess we don't have any 2-mana things that we need to Snapcaster for. This is probably attack. We'll take this trade. And then maybe we get lucky and they put Obosh in hand. That would actually be pretty good for us. If they put Obosh in hand, because then we get to whatchamacallit, snap, make them discard cards. Or we can snap Kaya's Guile and eat this out of the yard, which would also be pretty good. Be pretty decent. So they got a land. So it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they get to do both now. So I guess we can just. I don't think we need to do anything right now then. So another Snapcaster. So we can start by plussing here. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. We can plus here and stop on their draw step. We can brainstorm, see if we can find ourselves a land. We did. Oh, we can actually just verdict at instant speed. That's pretty sweet. I think I'll put this in a Snapcaster back, and I am not going to be cracking this fetch. Pass to them. Yep. We can do both of them. Wow, that's super brutal. We get to Thought Seize them, plus we get to Supreme Verdict them. It's pretty good. Yep. It's fine. It's fine. Thought Seize you in your draw step. You know, I'll just totally find magic things here. That Veil of Summer is completely dead. So I'm just going to take the Obosh, I think. That's just not doing anything. Now that we have this little Teferi out. And I will just Wrath these away. I think it's best to just get it out of the way and not have to deal with it so they can't, yeah, try to take this Teferi out. Do all that. Can F6 because they don't have anything else for turn. Just the silly card. Let's see what they've got going on. Nope, you can keep that one. I'll draw a card. Plus this. Say go. Suppose I could have opted there for free, but that's probably fine. Plus, yeah, I'll put that one on the bottom. Draw a card. Plus this. Play a land. I'll opt for free this time instead of missing that. Put that on the bottom. And I will pass. It's fine. I was debating if I wanted to like set a stop and Snapcaster Esper Charm away their last cards, but we know they have a Utopia Sprawl and a Veil at this point, so it's basically a moot point. I don't think that's going to make any sort of difference here. Stomp this, huh? Let's... What do we want to do with that? I guess that's fine. We can just snap full Mordecai's Guile after they cast this, and that's fine. Yep. Snapcaster. Target Kaya's Guile. We'll do everything. Bam, bam. Thank you. Pass. Back to us. Can get this out of here now, I suppose, huh? The plus on them. They just concede. Is that what's happening? Nope. Okay. Nope. You can keep that one. I'll just Snapcaster Esper Charm away their last 2 cards right now. Do that and that. Bam. Draw us another card. Plus this. Do this. Untapped. Pass. Well, I guess we get to attack. Go ahead. We'll untap 2 lands. Yeah, we got everything we could possibly want at this point. Really, it's a done deal. I think that what they're doing is just letting us click through because they think maybe they'll get an extra time advantage for the next game. Just fine. So I think at this point I will just activate this one. No, you can keep that. Activate this one. Go ahead and attack. Not even going to activate that fairy. Doesn't even matter. Just get to do everything. Okay. Yep. Yeah, they're just clicking through to try to get the most time possible, I think, which is fine. So, sweet. We will go to game number 3. Let's see how that works out for us here. Hopefully pretty similarly. I really like the Gusts and the Purge are both really, really awesome. Probably looking for... Maybe I want to eliminate, actually. No, probably not. I'm just thinking, maybe on the play it would have been fine, but on the draw, actually, I don't like it. I was just thinking, because if we can find a singular black mana, it's just another removal spell for Magus of the Moon. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that in. Take out 1 Archmage's Charm, I suppose, against the Blood Moon deck. That probably seems fine. Maybe... Do we want Veto, too? Take out the other charm? Yeah, actually, I like that. Trim on some of the triple blue casting costs against the Blood Moon deck. Especially on the draw when they can potentially try to do things even quicker. Obviously, we'll be looking for a hand that has a Fatal Push, a Path to Exile, or a Thoughtseize on the draw, or has a natural white or blue source with something like an Aether Gust or a Purge. Just to make sure we don't get Blood Moon out of the game, because they're most definitely on like 8 Blood Moon effects. I mean, I suppose there's a chance they're not on actual Blood Moon, but it seems pretty wild to play Magus of the Moon before Blood Moon. Especially in a meta filled with a bunch of pushes and bolts and whatnot. So this has... This is a good hand. I think we have to keep this. I'm a little scared of a turn 2 Blood Moon. Because this cannot grab black. But, you know, I mean, I think this is the kind of hand we kind of have to keep. Like, it seems pretty good. I also mulligan once. We'll see if they have Accelerant into specifically Moon. If they have anything else but Moon onto, we're probably fine. Push, maybe? No. Okay. So we'll play this. And if they don't Blood Moon us next turn, then I feel okay. Like this turn, I should say. If they Blood Moon us this turn, I'm pretty scared. They might have it. Yeah, that's red mana. Okay. Yep. So now, hoping we can rip a force off this. Aether Gust. That's okay. That's a fine one. It means that we can potentially gust this. Now we're just hoping they don't have another one. If they have another one, we could be in some hot water. Because our plan here is to Aether Gust this Blood Moon end of turn, and then untap and be able to fetch. Okay. Let's see what they did. Oh, this is probably a no-no. I should not have done this way. This gives them access to get another green mana right now. I don't know why I did this right now. That's definitely a mistake. Should have done this on on their end step. What do they do with this? Although, oh, they put the Blood Moon on the bottom. Okay. So I guess we'll just fetch shock. And then we can eliminate this, and then we can opt. Now, they might have another Blood Moon effect. So maybe that wasn't right, because if they have... Yeah, now I'm scared that they have, like, Magus of the Moon. Maybe I shouldn't have gone that direction. Maybe instead what I could have done is just passed, see what they do. Although against specifically Magus, even if we passed, we wouldn't have had any better hopes there. Okay, so maximum punished, for sure. That on the bottom. All right. Definitely max punished. Had we not done that, we could have just floated mana and then Esper Charm to this. Which probably looks like it's going to come back to bite us here. Yeah. Yikes. I really just didn't want them to draw an extra card, but I hadn't considered, because they put the Blood Moon on the bottom, I probably should have been aware of the fact that probably means they have another one. That being said, if we can find ourselves a white source, if we can find that basic plane somewhere, we're still going to be dead. Alright. Probably going to lose to 8 Moon here. Dang it. So maybe what we did didn't matter anyway, right? Because even if we had done that, we would have, maybe like vetoed that, and then we still would have died to this Magus of the Moon, most likely. Yeah. I have to say, losing to the deck that just says, I want to play a card that doesn't let you play the game, not a huge fan. Definitely not a huge fan. I understand some people probably have similar feelings about counterspells, right? It means that you don't actually get to do your thing, but this is like one-for-one trade, right? You kind of have some play around them. You got cards like Veil of Summer, some hand disruption, things like that, whereas like a card that just says, I don't want you to cast spells. Definitely a bummer. Definitely a bummer. Alright, well, give it like one more draw. I think we got one more chance. If we can find one, probably not even that, actually, no. Probably not even that. So now that they cast this, oh lord, they just found another tracker too? Yeah, I think we're probably dead. Probably dead. Oy. Even if we find a white source, I don't even know exactly how to go about handling this at this point. And we did not. Man, that's a bummer. We're almost there with Aether Gust, actually. Had we had another blue source, we could snap block this, target Gust, go to Gust their Moon at a turn, untap, do something like, I don't know, purge some things away or pass some things or something. As it sits currently, we are stone cold dead to 8 Moon. That's a bummer. I definitely enjoy playing Magic. I was not planning on, sitting here and clicking buttons instead, but sometimes, that's the kind of thing you run into, and, some people enjoy playing Magic when opponents can't, and, that's just kind of the way that they like it. That's why prison decks, are a thing, so. Regardless, I think the deck is still really good. It's tough to sit here and say, like, this deck's awesome when I, like, had some less than stellar records the last couple of times, but I think in general, like, it feels super powerful. I think that it definitely made a misplay in that last game right there that probably would have had some, sort of impact on the game. I don't know if we would have got through it because of their second moon, but it definitely would have mattered. And that could have helped quite a bit. And then I think just in general, we've had some slightly, I don't know, probably average, but ran a little bit below average in some of the matches compared to how our opponent's deck lined up with ours. But that's kind of how, a control deck's going to be, right? Like, you're always going to have a situation where you don't know exactly what you're playing against or exactly what their board situation is. And like that blue-red is a perfect example, right? They had a main deck Flusterstorm, and whew, did that get us, right? That absolutely clobbered us in that game because that resolved a spell that ended up just ultimately winning the game. So, control decks are always kind of going to be that way in Modern, where you have to kind of pick and choose your battles, and sometimes they just line up not super stellar. So probably something I'm still going to keep working on. It seems really, really solid as a deck in general, and it's also just the kind of deck that I like to play. So probably going to keep moving forward with it, and we'll see if I can come up with some sort of changes to maybe mitigate some of the things that we ran into over the last league or two. So thanks for joining. Hopefully you had a good time, and I will see you next time.